Ancient Indian dynasties are on the menu for today,
Sure.
and we're going to be focusing on the Brahma Purana.
The Brahma Purana, one of the major Hindu texts.
Exactly, yeah. Lineages of kings, heroes, gods, all kinds of crazy stuff. Some epic battles, too.
Oh, yeah. Definitely some family drama in there, too.
Oh, for sure.
Always a little bit of family drama.
Always. And who knows? Maybe some life lessons in there for us, too.
Absolutely. Well, your sources actually focus specifically on the lineage of Ayu.
Okay.
And Ayu is like a central figure in the Brahma Purana. He's got 5 sons.
5 sons.
5 sons.
It's a lot of kids.
It is a lot of kids. And they each, of course, branch out into their own line of descendants.
Okay, so 5 branches of the family tree.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we even begin?
Right. So your sources really focus on 2 main branches, the descendants of Nahusha and Anina.
Okay.
But we also get a glimpse into the story of Raji,
Oh.
who is another one of Ayu's sons.
One of the 5, okay.
Yep. And his story is a really interesting one, I think, because it kind of reminds us that ambition can be a powerful force,
Okay.
but also, a destructive one.
Yeah, a double-edged sword.
Exactly.
Raji sounds like he was a real piece of work.
He was. So picture this. This cosmic war is raging.
Okay.
Between the gods and the demons.
Classic.
Right. The Devas and the Asuras.
Got it.
And Brahma, the creator god himself.
Oh, wow. Top of the chain, right?
The top, yeah. He declares that whoever Raji fights for will win the war.
Oh, so much pressure on this one guy.
Can you imagine? That's a lot of pressure.
Wow. The fate of the universe is in this one guy's hands.
All right.
So what did he do? Did he crack under pressure?
Well, both the gods and the demons are like, hey, Raji,
Come to our side.
come join us. We'll give you all this power, all these rewards.
I bet.
Right. So he's got this classic dilemma. Does he fight for good, or does he just take all the power for himself?
That's a tough choice.
What would you do?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think I'd pick the good side,
Right.
but power's pretty tempting.
Right.
What factors do you think he was weighing when he made that decision?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think ultimately for Raji, ambition won out.
Oh, no.
Really? Yeah, he made a deal with the gods. He was like, okay, I'll fight for you guys, but if we win, I get to be Indra,
Indra, king of the gods.
king of the gods.
Wow, he aimed high.
He did, and they agreed to it.
He did? Wow, so I guess they were pretty desperate to win this war.
They were.
Okay, so what happened? Did they win?
They did. Raji led the gods to victory, and he got to sit on the throne of Indra.
Wow. So he got everything he wanted.
He did.
But I bet that's not the end of the story.
It's not. Raji unfortunately became a bit too comfortable, I think, in his new position of power.
Uh-oh.
And he ended up disrespecting a very important sage.
Ooh, not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
No, not good at all.
What happened?
Ultimately tricked by Indra's Maya, which is like this
Maya, like illusion.
illusion, yeah. He was tricked. He lost his position as king of the gods.
Oh, what a bummer. I guess it all came crashing down.
It did. Power can really corrupt, can it?
Oh, yeah. If you don't use it responsibly, it can definitely go to your head.
Absolutely.
Have you ever seen that happen, like in real life?
Oh, all the time.
Really?
All the time. I think it's important to remember to stay humble.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't let the power go to your head.
Exactly.
So we've got this one son of Ayu who was consumed by ambition. What about his other sons?
Well, another one of Ayu's sons, Anina, gives us a totally different perspective on legacy, I think.
Okay, how so?
His descendants, they're all about a wide range of talents and accomplishments. It's really quite amazing.
Like what? Give me some examples.
We've got kings, we've got heroes, we've got wise men, we've got people who were devoted to spiritual pursuits.
Wow, so it's a pretty diverse bunch.
It is.
It's like looking at a modern family tree and seeing, doctors, artists, entrepreneurs, all kinds of different people.
Exactly. And it's fascinating to see how one lineage can encompass such a range of human endeavors.
Yeah, it makes you think about what it really means to leave a mark on the world, doesn't it?
It does.
So who are some of the standouts in Anina's line? Who should we be paying attention to?
Well, we've got Pratikshatra.
Okay.
He was a powerful king known for his leadership.
Strong leader, okay.
Then there's Dridi.
Okay.
He was renowned for his righteousness.
A good guy.
A good guy, yep. But one figure that might particularly pique your interest is Dhanvantari.
Dhanvantari, the physician of the gods. I've heard of him.
He's famous, right?
Yeah, he's kind of a big deal, especially in Ayurveda.
Absolutely. Master of Ayurveda, the traditional Indian system of medicine.
It's incredible how much his legacy still influences medicine today.
It really is. And it's believed that he was the one who actually systematized medical knowledge. Like, he divided it into 8 branches for his students.
Wow, so he wasn't just a healer, he was a teacher too.
Exactly. A
Yeah.
true pioneer in the field of medicine.
It really makes you think about the impact that one person can have.
It does.
Like, he wasn't just focused on healing people in his own time.
Right.
He wanted to make sure that his knowledge would be passed down through generations.
And that's exactly what happened.
So Dhanvantari, the doctor, who else is there?
Well, there's also Bhimarath,
Okay.
another powerful king.
Lots of powerful kings in this line.
Yeah, there were a lot of kings in ancient India.
That's true.
And then you have Alarka,
Okay.
and he's known for his devotion to Brahmins, the priestly class.
Okay.
So you see, it's a real diverse tapestry of achievements.
It's like a microcosm of ancient Indian society, all in one lineage.
Well, it is, it is.
We see the importance of kingship, military prowess, knowledge, spiritual pursuits. It's fascinating.
It's like a window into a different world, but it also has these universal themes that we can still relate to today.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of universal themes, we can't forget about Nahusha's son, Yayati. Yeah. Now, his story really dives into the human condition, doesn't it? Like
Right.
desire, ambition, the search for meaning, all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
We were just talking about Anina's line and how many talented people came from that lineage.
Yeah, it's really amazing, like a whole spectrum of human potential.
Right. But now let's switch gears a little and get back to Nahusha's lineage. Specifically, his son, Yayati.
Yayati. Now, his story is a really interesting one because it deals with some pretty complex themes. You know, desire, duty, sacrifice, family, all that stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot to unpack there.
There is. So Yayati, he was a king, right?
Right.
And he was at the height of his power. The world was at his feet. But then he got hit with this curse.
A curse. Oh no, what happened?
He was cursed with premature old age.
Premature old age. So, like, he's a king, he's on top of the world, and suddenly, boom, he's an old man.
Exactly. Can you imagine?
That's got to be rough.
Oh, yeah. It was devastating. He's desperate to get his youth back.
Makes sense. So what did he do? Did he go on some kind of quest to break the curse?
Well, he did something even more dramatic. He asked his sons for help.
His sons.
Yeah.
What did he ask them to do?
He asked them to exchange their youth for his old age.
Whoa, hold on. He asked his sons to basically become old men so he could be young again.
Yeah. He was basically asking them to bear the burden of his curse so he could go back to enjoying life.
Wow. That's a pretty big ask, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And you can imagine how his sons felt about that.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine too many people would be willing to give up their youth, even for their father.
Right. Well, his first 4 sons, Yadu, Turvasu, Druyu, and Anu, they all said no.
All 4 of them.
Yeah. They each had their own reasons, of course. Maybe they had dreams they weren't willing to sacrifice. Maybe they just didn't think it was fair.
I mean, I get it. Youth is precious.
It is. It is. But Yayati, he didn't take their refusal very well.
Oh, what did he do?
He cursed them.
He cursed his own sons.
Yeah. He basically predicted that their lineages would face certain challenges and difficulty.
Wow. Talk about holding a grudge.
Well, he was pretty upset. You know, he felt like they had betrayed him.
I can see how he might feel that way. But still, cursing your own kids, that's harsh.
It is. It is. But remember, this is mythology. Things were a little different back then.
Right, right. So he had 5 sons. Right.
He did.
What about the youngest one? Did he say no to?
The youngest son, Puru, he was different.
Different how?
He agreed to the exchange.
He did. Wow, why would he do that?
Well, he was known for his sense of duty and his love for his father.
So he was basically willing to sacrifice his own youth to help his dad.
Exactly. He took on his father's old age so that Yayati could be young again.
What a sacrifice. I mean, 1,000 years. That's a long time to be old.
It is. And it's a really powerful moment in the story because it raises all sorts of questions about, you know, family, duty, sacrifice, what we're willing to do for the people we love.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what do you think motivated Puru to make that choice?
It's tough to say for sure, but maybe it was pure devotion to his father. Maybe it was a sense of duty to his lineage. Or maybe he saw something that his brothers didn't. Like maybe he saw an opportunity to learn from his father's experiences and wisdom during that time.
That's an interesting point. Maybe he saw it as a chance to gain some valuable insights.
Right, and it's worth noting that Puru's lineage went on to become incredibly important in ancient India.
Oh, yeah? How so?
We're talking about the lineage that gave rise to King Parata.
Wait, Bharata, as in the king who India is named after. The Prashrasha.
That's the one. And it's also the lineage that leads to the Kuru dynasty.
Taruva dynasty, that's huge. They're the ones from the Mahabharata, right?
Exactly. The Mahabharata, one of the most famous epics in Indian literature. And it all starts with the lineage of King Kuru, who was a descendant of Puru.
Wow. So Puru's sacrifice really did have a lasting impact.
It did. And it's a reminder of how interconnected history is, how individual choices can have ripple effects that last for generations.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. But before we move on to the Kuru dynasty, let's circle back to Yayati for a minute. What happened to him after he got his youth back? Did he make the most of it?
Oh, he did. He indulged in all the pleasures and pursuits that youth had to offer. For 1,000 years, he lived it up. But then something interesting happened.
What's that?
He realized that it wasn't enough.
What do you mean?
All those worldly pleasures, the power, the wealth, the fame, it was all fleeting. It didn't bring him lasting happiness.
So he kind of had a midlife crisis, but like 1,000 years in?
You could say that, but it was more than just a crisis. It was a profound realization about the nature of desire and fulfillment.
Makes sense. I mean, he had everything he could ever want, but he still wasn't happy.
Right. And there's a famous quote from him where he talks about how desires are like fire fed with ghee. The more you feed them, the stronger they grow.
Yeah, I've heard that one. It's a pretty powerful image.
It is. And it shows that even in ancient times, people were struggling with these same questions about happiness and fulfillment.
So what did he do? Did he just keep indulging in his desires even though he knew they wouldn't make him happy?
No, he didn't. He had a change of heart. He realized that true happiness wasn't going to come from external things. He had to look inward.
So he basically gave up on all the pleasures and focused on something deeper.
Exactly. He returned to his son Puru, took back his old age, and embraced a life of renunciation and spiritual seeking.
Wow, what a transformation. From a king obsessed with youth to a man seeking enlightenment.
It's a pretty remarkable arc, isn't it?
It is. And what about Puru? Did he ever get his youth back?
He did. Yayati, realizing the error of his ways, he returned Puru's youth and blessed him to be a righteous and powerful king.
So it all worked out in the end.
In a way, yes. Puru got his youth back, Yayati found peace, and from Puru's line came some of the most important figures in Indian history.
Including King Karata, after whom India is named.
Exactly.
What about Yayati's other sons, the ones who refused to give up their youth? What happened to them?
Well, they each went on to create their own dynasties and legacies. The Brahma Purana doesn't go into as much detail about their lineages, but it's fascinating to think about how Yayati's actions, his curse, might have shaped their destinies.
Yeah, it's like a butterfly effect, right?
Exactly. One decision, one action can have ripple effects that spread out across generations.
History is rarely a simple straight line, isn't it? It's more like a tangled web of interconnected stories.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it so fascinating to explore.
Man, we've covered so much ground already. Ambition, sacrifice, the search for meaning, you name it.
It's amazing how these ancient stories still have something to teach us today.
Absolutely. They're like a window into the past, but they also reflect these timeless truths about human nature.
Exactly. And as we explore the lineages of Yayati's other sons, we come across this really fascinating character, Kartavirya Arjuna.
Kartavirya Arjuna. Okay, I don't recognize that name. Who is he?
Well, he was a king descended from Yadu, one of the sons who refused to give up his youth for Yayati.
Okay, right. And that's the same lineage that eventually leads to Lord Krishna, right?
Exactly. It's all connected. But Kartavirya Arjuna, he's kind of a legend in his own right. He's known for being incredibly powerful, a mighty warrior.
How powerful are we talking?
Legend has it that he had 1,000 arms.
1,000 arms.
Seriously. Not just a metaphor, a literal 1,000 arms.
Wow. That's some serious firepower. So what kind of guy was he? Was he just a brute force, or was there more to him?
He was definitely a fierce warrior, known for conquering vast territories and even capturing Ravana, the demon king of Lanka.
He captured Ravana, the same Ravana from the Ramayana.
That's the one. But he wasn't just a conqueror. He was also known for his righteousness and his devotion to Dharma.
Okay, so he wasn't just a muscle-bound warmonger. He had a sense of justice and duty.
Exactly. He was a protector of his people, and he also had a mystical side. He was said to have performed countless sacrifices and even sought spiritual enlightenment.
So he was a warrior, a king, and a spiritual seeker. That's a pretty impressive resume.
It is. He was a complex figure, trying to balance his worldly duties with his spiritual aspirations. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess we all struggle with finding that balance in our own lives. So what happened to him? Did his story have a happy ending?
Well, It started with a very generous act. He granted a wish to Agni, the god of fire.
Oh, that's nice of him. What did Agni ask for?
He asked for Kartavirya Arjuna's entire kingdom as an offering.
His entire kingdom. That's a pretty big ask. Why would he agree to that?
Well, back then, kings believed that giving generously, especially to the gods, was a way to show their piety and earn divine favor.
So he was trying to do the right thing, but
But it backfired. Empowered by the king's gift, Agni started consuming everything in his path: forests, mountains, even the hermitage of a powerful sage named Vasishtha.
uh-oh. You don't want to mess with a sage.
You got that right. Vasishtha was furious. He cursed Kartavirya Arjuna, predicting that he would be killed by another powerful Brahmin.
A Brahmin. Like a priest or a scholar.
Exactly. And that Brahmin turned out to be Parashurama, the sixth avatar of Vishnu.
Parashurama. The warrior sage. I've heard of him.
He's pretty famous, right?
Right.
Known for his unwavering commitment to justice. And in a final showdown, Parashurama confronted Kartavirya Arjuna and killed him, fulfilling Vasishtha's curse.
So even a king with 1,000 arms couldn't escape his fate. It really makes you think about the limits of power, doesn't it?
It does. No matter how strong or powerful you are, there are always consequences for your actions.
And it seems like that's a recurring theme in these stories, this idea of balance, karma, the cyclical nature of power.
Absolutely. These stories aren't just entertaining, they're also trying to teach us something about how to live our lives.
Yeah, they offer a lot of wisdom if you're willing to listen. But we've journeyed through generations of kings and heroes. We've explored ambition, sacrifice, the search for meaning, and the consequences of unchecked power.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? And there's still so much more to explore in the Brahma Purana.
Definitely. It's a treasure trove of stories and insights. And I hope our listeners are inspired to delve a little deeper into these ancient texts and see what they can discover for themselves.
Absolutely. Keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep exploring the infinite depths of human experience as reflected in these amazing tales.
And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the Brahma Purana. Thanks for joining us.